Socrates was one of the most influential philosophers in the world. He was born in 469 BC and died in 399 BC in Athens, and in this video I will mainly focus on his biography and ideas. One important thing to point out is that Socrates never wrote anything down. He was more interested in discussing various topics with his followers rather than write them down. This is what he said: "I cannot help feeling that writing is unfortunately like painting, for the creations of a painter have the appearance of life, and yet, if you ask them a question, they preserve a solemn silence." So if he never wrote anything down, then how do we know anything about him? Well, other people wrote about him, and those people were Aristophanes, Xenophon, Plato, and Aristotle. This leads to the so-called Socratic problem, because we have no way of knowing if anything his contemporaries wrote about him is true. So we mostly rely on the writings of Plato, since he was the student of Socrates. Before he became a full-time philosopher, he was first a soldier and later a stonecutter. When he decided to dedicate his life to being a philosopher, he started speaking in front of youth and introduced them to new ideas about the world. He preferred to ask his followers questions so that they could arrive at their own understanding rather than directly sharing his knowledge with them. Here are some of his thoughts. He believed that the one supreme good was virtue, which means moral excellence. That if a man is courageous, just, prudent, and temperate, he is virtuous. He also said that evil is a result of ignorance. He said, "My own opinion is more or less this. No wise man believes that anyone sins willingly or willingly perpetuates any base or evil act. They know very well that every base or evil action is committed involuntarily." A very controversial opinion he had was that not all citizens should rule over Athens, but rather a group of well-educated politicians. That's why he often criticized democracy. He compared society to a ship and asked if it would be smarter for just anyone to steer the vessel, or people who are educated in the rules and demands of seafaring. This is one of the reasons that he got executed, for speaking against the democratic idea of elections. He had to drink poisoned hemlock, and this is what the official indictment against Socrates said: "Socrates is guilty of refusing to recognize the gods recognized by the state and introducing other new divinities. He is also guilty of corrupting the youth. The penalty demanded is death." At 70 years of age, just before his death, this is what Socrates said: "Well, gentlemen, I am no criminal. That needs no long defense for me to prove. However, when I said some time ago that I was hardly disliked by many, you may be sure that it is quite true. And this is what will convict me." Thanks for watching this video. I put a link to Socrates' quotes down in the description, and by the way, in every video I post, I always include links to the sources that I get the information from in the description. So if the subject interests you, you can learn more about it there.